If you've been watching our channel for any length of time, you've probably heard me talk about how popular it is amongst airsofters to customize their guns, either to make their own personal statement or to have their own customized weapon system. The problem that I find a lot of folks getting into is the fact that there are compatibility issues from one gun to the next. Even with a gun that's as popular as the M4, not all M4s are exactly the same, so some parts that may be compatible with one gun are probably not going to be compatible with another. For instance, this is a CM16 made by G&G, which is probably one of the most popular basic AEGs that we sell. The problem with these is that a lot of guys like to eventually customize them by removing the handguard and putting on a free floating system. The problem with that is that the delta ring assembly on this is not threaded. Most of the standard ones have a threaded delta ring, which you basically use your standard armorer's tool to unthread it, and then you just simply thread on the free floating handguard. On this one you cannot do that because the delta ring is not threaded, and there's no way to tell that until you actually pulled this apart. So if you went out and got the parts and tried to put one on here, you'd be pretty disappointed because it's not going to be compatible. And that kind of situation is not unusual, where I've seen quite a few people that have gotten themselves into a tight spot where they buy one particular brand and they try to mix and match parts and they're just not compatible. Now in the real world, when you buy an M4, generally most M4s are compatible with each other. But in the airsoft world, that's not necessarily so. So what works with a G&P is not going to necessarily work with a G&G. So you need to be aware of that when you're trying to build a custom gun. So the thing that I'm trying to get at today is that if you're looking for certain features in an airsoft gun, it's probably best if you can actually get them from the factory as close to what you're looking for without having to customize it yourself, so you're not running into all those compatibility issues. If you looked into the G&G brand, they've got a ton of variants on the M4 model, so you can get as close to the custom model that you're looking for without having to do the work yourself. So with that in mind, today's custom gun that we're looking at is the G&G GR4. The GR4 is G&G's latest addition to their GC series of plastic blowback AEGs. Now when I say plastic, it's important to note that this is a heavy grade nylon fiber plastic, not some of the cheaper ABS or PVCs that are out there. This is a much durable plastic than you're going to find on a lot of the cheaper models. It's also important to note that more than half of the parts are metal on this particular gun, which include the buffer tube, the front handguard, which is a free-floating quad rail design, the cocking lever, and quite a few other parts on this particular gun. Now this is a blowback, so when you fire it, it actually has moving parts inside of the bolt carrier that simulate the moving parts that you would normally see on a real M4. Now as far as the overall blowback feature goes on airsoft guns, I could really personally either take it or leave it. It really doesn't add that much to the overall airsoft shooting experience, because if you've ever shot a real gun and then you move on to an airsoft gun that's doing this when you shoot it, it really doesn't do that much for me. But if you're looking for that feature in an airsoft gun, the nice thing about the G&G is that it uses a pneumatic system in order to operate the blowback feature. My biggest complaint about electric blowback guns is that they run off of the same mechanics that drive the rest of the gearbox. So you're adding additional wear and stress to your motor, your gears, your piston, and the rest of that. The other problem is the additional vibration that's going on with the slide going back and forth is basically going to beat itself to death. So you're generally just cutting down the lifespan of your gearbox in order to have this little blowback feature. The nice thing about the G&G blowback system is that it runs off of a separate pneumatic system which is independent from the rest of the gearbox, so you're not adding additional stress to your motor and your gears in order to drive your blowback feature. The nice thing about the GR4 is it comes standard with a ton of custom features, which would take quite a lot of effort to do something like this on your own. The custom features include a standard suppressor, which is built into the inside of the free-floating quad rail handguard, which alone would be an additional $100 if you were adding that feature to any other airsoft gun. Some of the other unique features on the GR4 include an upgraded pistol grip, which has a nice knurled feel to it. It also has a skeletonized cocking lever on the handle, which has a nice custom look to it. It also has the custom lower strap on the trigger guard, as well as the dual sling mount on the back of the buffer tube. All of these features would normally be custom additions to any M4, come standard on the GR4. The G&G comes standard with a mid-cap magazine. This is a 120 round mag, so for you guys that are out there that don't like the magazine rattling around a lot, you're going to like the feature of this magazine that you don't have to worry about it giving up your position when you're actually moving with it. The other nice thing is that normally with other guns, your last few rounds get wasted up inside of the hop-up because it doesn't actually push them all the way up in there, where the G&G magazine has this extra little bit that pushes the last few rounds up into the hop-up unit, so you don't have to worry about losing a few rounds every time you pull the magazine out of the gun. One of the things I really like about the GR4 is that it uses G&G's crane stock design, which is very easy to get the batteries in and out of this. You basically just depress a couple of tabs on it, remove the back panel, remove this little triangle out of it, and then you have easy access to the batteries right out of the back of the gun, so you don't have to disassemble the entire gun to get the batteries out of it when you're out in the field. Overall, the GR4 gives you a ton of custom features that would cost you a lot of time and effort to put together yourself. If I had to build this gun from scratch, I would expect to charge a guy probably $500 to $600 for all the custom parts, where this gives you all of those features at easily half that price and direct from the factory. So if you got any other questions about the G&G brand and all the other versions of the M4 that they have, feel free to stop by the showroom. We'll get the catalog out and get you exactly what you're looking for the first time. Or if you got any questions, just shoot us an email at our email address at replayairsoft@yahoo.com and we'll get right back with you. So until then, we'll see you the next time.